really give a shit. Here's another thing. Here's another take. The whole Snow White bullshit. First of all, it's Snow Brown now, apparently. There is no longer Snow White, because being white is not good enough. You have to be Snow Brown or Snow Tanned. Let's bring this up for illustration purposes. So, this was the classic 1930s Snow White, which was made by Walt Disney, one of their pioneering movies, which actually made the company what it is today. And this slightly brown lady is going to now play Snow White. It's not only that she's only going to play Snow White, she is actually going around interviews, or at least I don't know whether it was pre-strike interviews or whatever, but she was giving interviews saying this Snow White is not going to be chasing men, it's not going to be a lover for love. She's going to become a powerful warrior and take charge, and, you know, boss baby, boss girl, boss bitch, all that stuff. And they made a Snow White like that, by the way. They actually made a Snow White like that. It was called the Snow White and the Huntsman. So we didn't need another one of those Snow Whites because they already made one. And hold on. And the funny thing is, that movie actually was I don't know whether it was successful or it wasn't that successful, because the Snow White and the Huntsman, they made part 2 where they cut out Snow White and they just called it The Huntsman. So I'm not entirely sure whether Snow White and the Huntsman was that particularly successful, because in the second one, they didn't call it Snow White. They cut out the Snow White and they just focused on Hemsworth's character and another girl, which was his wife or lover or whatever. So I'm guessing that they didn't actually care for Snow White in any way. So this reimagining of Snow White and the boss lady, who became, you know, queen and all that shit, and she kicked ass, and she didn't sit around waiting for Prince to kiss her awake, all that bollocks. They changed it, and it wasn't a bad film. I'll be honest, it wasn't a bad film. I thought it was pretty decent, but clearly nobody cared about the Snow White part, because if the Snow White part was the focal portion of this film, the second edition would not cut out Snow White. It's literally called The Huntsman, I think, the second one. Hold on. It's not even called Snow White. It's The Huntsman, Winter's War. So they literally just cut Snow White completely out of that movie and just made it about Liam Hemsworth. And well, I mean, it was still a boss bitch movie, because it was still all about the ladies, but it was the two queens, which was, I guess, Elsa. I don't know, she's like the Ice Queen from oh shit, what was that movie? Anyway, but don't get me wrong, these women are great actors, all of them. These, you know, Charlize Theron, this one, oh my god, Kate Blanchett, I think it is. Is it Kate Blanchett? I think it is. And also, you know, Liam Hemsworth was in it as well, and they didn't sort of make him into some kind of meek woman. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this woman, Jessica Chastain. I'm not a fan of her at all. I don't know why she gets so much credit in Hollywood, because I find her to be a lower than mediocre actress. But yeah, she got a big thing in there. So there was 3 boss bitches, give or take, and then, you know, obviously Liam Hemsworth was sort of there as well, even though I mean, he was okay. I don't think they kind of emasculated him. They didn't cut his balls off. He was still Emily Blunt, Charlize Theron. Look at this. This fucking boss babe imagery here. But either way, it was okay. But now, this lady here, they are supposed to be making the original Snow White of the Disney franchise or the Disney property. They're not making some reimagined version of Disney's the Snow White movie like the Huntsman one. The Huntsman one was supposed to be a complete reimagining. It wasn't meant to be from it. It just took the basic story of Snow White and they created something else. Perfectly fine. Why didn't you do that with this? And by the way, the character, the protagonist is called Snow White. Because this is about a 200-year-old Scandinavian or German fucking folklore. Why is... They didn't think about Spanish people when they were writing this. No Middle Easterner, no one from the African continent was actually in the mind of the authors of this story. It's a white fucking story for white folks. Why do you keep doing this, Hollywood? You fucking just insufferable assholes. As a person of off-white colors, even though the lighting here probably makes me look more like a white man than anything before because it's kind of bright. But as a person who would be considered of a APOC background, a person of off-white background, I would just like to tell you, Hollywood, we don't want you keep fucking revamping white Anglo-Saxon, German, Scandinavian stories and trying to introduce us wedge us into your fucking stories. These are white people's stories. We have our own stories, you cunts. We have great stories. Shahrazad, the 1001 Arabian Nights. There are plenty of Middle Eastern and African stories. Quit changing your fucking white characters and trying to wedge us in, you cunts. We don't like it. We don't want it. Go fuck yourself.